It has now been nearly 1 year since music venues closed due to the pandemic. We know those venues will also be among the last to fully reopen. That's where Keep Music Live comes in. So it's a fundraising campaign created by music lovers to support our small, independently owned venues here in Washington State.
And Seattle is home to some legendary artists who haven't played a live show in a year. And on Thursday, they're pulling together to make sure that the venues they love are still around by the time that we're all able to safely go to concerts again. And speaking of legendary, we want to bring in our friend and local icons from Mix-a-Lot. He's hosting a big event tomorrow called Band Together Washington. Mix, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Before we get to the big event, can you kind of talk about what kind of impact this pandemic has had on venues and even artists in our region?
I'm glad you asked, because many people think that, you know, these are just smoky bars with some rotten guy. They watch too many movies, because these are actual ecosystems surrounding the club, not just the club itself. I mean, they employ light guys, everything from janitors to light guys. The agents make a piece, the pizza parlor across the street, the hot dog guy outside. And these are real people with real names. I know most of them. I play these venues every year. Even if I lose money, it doesn't matter. They made me, so I come back home. And these people, the average owner probably makes 4% of their gross in profit. So this is the labor of love. And these people are real people, and they were being forgotten about, but we ain't gonna let that happen.
We are not going to let that happen. You know, Jamie and I both love live music. So tell us more about this event. Who's performing? Do we need tickets? How do we watch it? All of that.
I tell you what, this thing is going to be crazy. You do not need tickets. It does not cost you a dime to come. But let me tell you about, I had to write this down. All right. This is just a few of them. All right, we got Alan Stone, Brandi Carlile, Chris Ballou, Duff McKagan, Mike McCready, Macklemore, Pearl Jam, Presidents of the United States, Black Tones, and I got a whole lot more, but I won't do all of them. But it is going to be packed. It's going to be a lot of people. Basically, links are available at www.keepmusiclive.wa. Excuse me, let me replay. Let me say that again. www.keepmusiclivewa.com.
Awesome. We're gonna have it there on your screen as well. You know, obviously this is a fundraiser though too, of course. And while we can watch this for free, we are hoping to raise funds here for our venues and artists. Can you talk about where that money is going to be going to and who it's going to help?
Well, what it's going to do is help these clubs to hang on. I mean, you know, you got clubs that only hold, you know, 300 people, so 25% of house, you're not going to get a show to play for that money. So there's literally nobody there. We're trying to keep the doors open and the lights on, and they can walk and talk on their own from the time they open things back up, which I think is coming, knock on wood.
Mix, I'm admiring the hardware behind you. You're doing this because you care about others. You care about these folks. You work with them all the time. What advice do you have for these local venues and artists right now, and what can they take away from this experience that you guys are building and then use it as a springboard for them in their communities?
I think that's a very good question. I think the artists, I'll give them some advice first. Let's not forget where we come from. And Macklemore and Pearl Jam and myself, all of us, Chris Ballou, they're examples of if it weren't for us, they might not survive. And if it weren't for them, we might not be us. So it's hand in hand. Those small clubs, all of us, every artist I just read off passed through that crocodile at one point, passed through the showbox at one point. So yeah, it's time for us to pay the piper. Chicken's home to roost. Cluck, cluck, cluck.
Well, before we let you go, one final question, and I'm sure a lot of people would be curious to know, what are you listening to right now? What kind of music and artists are helping you through this time?
You know what's interesting is a lot of people laugh at me when I say this. I listen to a lot of new stuff. I'm always checking to see what's happening. I mean, I predicted trap before it happened, because I knew EDM and dubstep would have a baby and mix, chop, and screw in there and come up with something called trap. And it happened. So I'm always studying new styles, new feels, new textures, not just hip hop either. I mean, I listen to a lot of rock and pop and all kind of stuff. So I still got some oldies. I mean, this thing is full. Trust me. I got a whole lot of content in here, and I'm always studying what's next, always.
All right, well, your posse's here at Q13. We so appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for checking in with us and all the work that you do to support the venues and the up-and-coming artists in our region. Thank you. Also, we want to give you a recap.
Young lady should be a writer. My God, this
I
lady
say
can
that
write
every
stuff.
day.
Oh,
You recognize it as well. Thanks, Mix.
incredibly talented. All right, you guys.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much. This is a recap of what you need to know to access tomorrow's live stream. It begins at 7:30 and will stream across multiple platforms, including Facebook and YouTube, while also available online as well. Now, it's technically a free event, like Mick said, but donations are encouraged, and you can learn how to RSVP and see the full list of stars taking part at q13fox.com/links.
I love it.